Hello, this is Mornings with Michael, brought to you for informational and educational purposes only, and we're really going to be educated a little bit today. We have a special guest, Edna Castillo. Uh, Edna of Reality Dreams Life Coaching in the San Francisco Bay Area. She is a certified life coach with an education from the University of Pacific and San Francisco State University. Edna started her career in financial services and the mortgage industry. She went on to be a human resource person at Catholic Charities. She is an author of the book Living Your Intuitive Genius. And it's great to have her on board because she's our first author. In Living Your Intuitive Genius, Edna takes us on a journey of letting go and letting God. The intuitive genius she references is that inner wisdom we all get from our higher power. She offers simple but powerful exercises to help us listen better so we can empower ourselves to heal and propel our lives forward, making us happier, healthier people and inspirations to others, says Patrick Snow, of international best-selling author of Creating Your Own Destiny and The Affluent Entrepreneur. Reality Dreams works with organizations and individuals, helping them build their dreams, accelerating their results, and create richer, more fulfilling lives. Offers transformational workshops around the US and seek clients both uh, seek clients to live more fulfilling, purposeful lives. Whether lunch and learn, keynote speech, or afternoon workshop, Reality Dreams can be there for you. So without further ado, let's bring on Edna. Edna, it's terrific to have you on board today. Uh, and did I miss anything?
No, no. Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Um, One of the things that I love to share that I'm not sure it wasn't as highlighted in the bio is that I'm also a cancer thriver. So back in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and while undergoing the breast cancer is when I wrote the book. So that's yeah, just more to share about following my intuitive genius.
Well, that's awesome. So when did you start your journey on being a certified life coach?
It was after the 30 years of financial services, I was seeking something that was, well, it was speaking to me. I kept hearing a little voice inside of me saying, is that all there is, putting zeros in somebody's bottom line? And what that did is it in my logical self, I then went to work for Catholic Charities thinking that that was the solution. But I kept hearing that voice, and I spiritually just dove into um, wanting to be led to this career, and I was. So about 3 years into being, or 2.5 years being into Catholic Charities, I was led to life coaching, which is a profession I didn't even know existed. And I discovered that it fit like a glove because I had actually been life coaching all my life. I've always attracted people to share their lives, and I've always been honored to be able to uplift them and have, just uplift their life.
So who was your first client? If you can, you don't have to share their name, but maybe you could just tell a little bit about them and that first experience after you became a life coach.
Sure, sure. So my first client was an old friend of mine who at the time she was in transition. She was looking, she had gotten laid off and she was very, very unsure of her future. She's she's a single person. She's had grown children and so she had a mortgage to pay and bills to take care of, and she didn't know where she was going to go to, what she was going to do. And that was really, really a great experience for me because I was able to empower her to go for the career that she really wanted. And towards the end of our life, we started with a 12-week course, and at the end of that, she was actually employed by the end of it. And so I'm very, I was very honored to serve her and learn that the tools that I teach as a life coach really empower people to follow their dreams.
That's awesome. So can you tell me anything about your experience at Catholic Charities? Um, did that change anything that kind of led to you where you went on the road right now, or was there some people that influenced you there? Just share a little bit about that experience.
Well, it's an organization that its mission is to provide for others that are not in a good place, right? So they basically serve the homeless, they serve the immigrants, they do huge work with people that have been a victim of violence. And it just being surrounded with all of the individuals that provide assistance, just made me look at the world in a different way, and see how I could also help in that way. I wasn't a trained, social worker, but yet I would volunteer within my own organization to learn more. During the and currently, there's a huge immigration crisis in the United States. And so because I work there, I understand it a lot more better in a personal level, because I was honored to help many immigrants become documented through the organization of Catholic Charities. And so what it did for me is just widen my perspective on how each one of us has the capacity to give to others in the smallest ways. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, rather than saying, why me, or, what is this happening to me, I saw the gift that I still had, which was life. And I started then documenting how I could then serve others in the future as they navigate cancer. And that's what I do now as well. So because I've lived the life of cancer, I can now help other women or men who are undergoing such treatments as well. But Catholic Charities help me develop that perspective that we each of us can influence and help others with the knowledge that we currently have. And it doesn't matter where we come, but where we're at in our knowledge, there's always something that we can give others.
I'm going to just take a step back. Maybe you can tell a little bit about your childhood growing up. Where did you grow up,
Sure.
and what kind of life did Edna have when she was younger?
Yeah. So I actually was born in Guatemala, which is
Okay,
it's a country in Central America. And so I had my first 10 years in a developing country. And at the age of 10, my family immigrated to San Francisco Bay Area. My dad had already been here, and then he petitioned us to come. So my mother and 5 siblings came through a bus ride through Mexico to come into the and actually, we had an apartment waiting for us in San Francisco. So I grew up in the San Francisco school system, and I learned a lot about navigating a big city, because at that time I didn't have a school bus to pick me up. I actually had to take like 2 buses to get to school.
okay.
I learned the independence, and in that, I also learned that I really wanted to grow in the American way, um, so I reached the goals of wanting to go to college. And since I came from a family that my parents really couldn't afford it, I put myself through college. So I went to San Francisco State at the same time I was working, and then that's what started my career in financial services, because I I was working at a credit union when I was still in school in college, and my degree at that time was business. So when I graduated from college, I just continued working in that credit union, went through the ladder of, different promotions, and then eventually transferred into mortgage, and then transferred into insurance. So it's just been a stepping stone. Each phase of my life has led to the next phase, as it does all of us, right? So it's just about listening to what the next step is and not staying stuck in the unhappiness or in the monotony of that life can sometimes be.
So do you think that there was any college professor or teacher that you had that kind of really helped you? You're kind of teaching others now. I was just wondering if somebody had that really stands out in your past that really helped you on your path.
Yeah, it wasn't so much college. I had an aunt, actually a great aunt, my grandmother's sister, who was instrumental in teaching me about spirituality.
Hmm.
And yeah, she passed away when I was 12 years old, but she left such an imprint in my life that I followed all her teachings about, service and being well with others, and just that sense of you're in this world to uplift and to grow within your world. So having that philosophy has helped me evolve into life coaching, because that's what I've always been, a life coach based on her teachings.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Edna, maybe you can go into your book a little bit. Oh, before we get there, maybe you could just take us through your breast cancer. Was there a couple of different steps that led you to this? Just take us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So in terms of breast cancer, it came up all of a sudden. This is a public announcement here for women to really be aware of getting your mammograms and being aware of your own body. Because I had a mammogram in March of 2019, and everything was fine. And the doctor said, you're good to go. And then in May, I bumped my breast against the counter, and I went, ouch. And as soon as I touched my breast, I felt a lump. So
Hmm.
the cancer that I had was very, very aggressive, it growing from March to May very quickly. So when I went into treatment, I immediately went into 16 rounds of chemotherapy. That's 5.5 months of chemotherapy. And I don't believe in coincidences. I started looking at life differently, as I was going through my certification of life coaching. Because of a year prior to me being diagnosed for breast cancer, I became a certified life coach. So I believe that the experience of breast cancer came for my own instruction on how to navigate an illness in a different way than the normal standard way that other people do. And I did that. I did that using the tools that I teach. And so through the journey of breast cancer, 5.5 months of chemotherapy, 30 sessions of radiation. And then I had also breast surgery and reconstructive surgery, and a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. So that in itself it's a lot, right? It's a lot to take. Yet for me, it was a spiritual journey in living life in a different way, in a grateful way each day, and practicing the tools that I teach in terms of, not focusing on the circumstances of the illness, but focusing on what you do have, being in a different perception. So mindset allowed me to not have a lot of the symptoms that other people have. Yes, I lost my hair. but I didn't have the nausea that comes with the illness. I didn't have, some of the cycling of energy of having to take naps. Throughout the whole thing, I took one nap doing radiation when it
Hmm.
really is exhausting for other people. But that's because I was, self-coaching myself. And at the time, I actually had a coach as well that was helping
Okay.
with mindset. Because when you're in the circumstance, it's hard to look outside of what you're feeling. So you do really need someone to remind you of who you really are, which is you're greater than any circumstance, and that it's possible for you to look at things differently. And in the process of having the breast cancer, I started my treatment, and about 4 months later, I started writing my book. So while I was in treatment is when I would sit down and write the book. So rather than concentrating on, oh my gosh, I don't feel good, or I'm oh, this, that, and the other. No, I would sit there and actually author the book. So it's a lot of the book was inspired. Some of the chapters I was like, okay, where did that come from? And it is different stories of people that I know in life, managing through circumstances, and the discovery of how we manage the circumstances really is the way life happens to us. It's our way of doing things that basically, life is reflective, right? It reflects the attitude, what you bring to it, it gives us back. So that's what the book is about. And in the process, I do teach. Each chapter has a different practices that you can undertake just to get more centered with your spirit, and just be more aligned with who you really are, which is a spiritual being.
Hmm. Oh, that's amazing. So your book is, how many pages is your book?
200 and,
Approximately.
well, let me see. Actually, that's a great question. 321.
And it has approximately how many chapters?
It has 13 chapters.
13.
Yeah, 13 chapters.
Uh, and it's available on Amazon?
It's available anywhere people get their books: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, your local bookstore. You can go there and order it. So yes, it's widely available everywhere.
Who helped you with the pressing of the book, and did you have a mentor? Just kind of take us through that.
Yeah, well, I had no idea how to even get it into publishing. And so there's various ways that you can do that. So what I did is I did hire a book coach, and he was able to then just give me this, put me in contact with other people that could actually do the cover and do the editing and do that. So he had contacts of people that could help me get it into publishing. And so that's the model that I followed. I could have very well sent my transcript to different publishers and hope for the best. But I really wanted it out there. And and so that's the route that I took.
Okay, that's awesome. So, um, what kind of hobbies do you have, Edna? Just on a personal side,
On the
what do you like
personal,
to do?
what I love to do is I love to cook. I am a really good
Okay,
cook, and I love to cook for friends and family. I love to take my dogs for a walk in nature, or simply just go, to the park and down the street and just be with, the flowers and bees and the butterflies, and have inspiration. I love to hike. And one of my very favorite things to do is go down to the coast. I see you have the San Francisco Golden Gate behind you. So
right.
go to those beaches that you have behind you and just commune with nature. Um, I find that there's a lot of inspiration that comes when I do that.
I feel the same way. I love taking mo morning power walks before the sun rises. and then
Mhm.
watching the sunrise, take photos and seeing all the different colors, and then seeing animals that you just don't see in other parts of the day. You see the jackrabbits out there scourging for their food in the morning, and yeah, it's just amazing what you can see at a time when usually there's nobody outside.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, nature speaks to us. There's a part in my book where I talk about this hike that I took right before being diagnosed with breast cancer. I was feeling a little bit kind of stuck energy, kind of like feeling like a bird jailed in in my own cage, and I just didn't know what to do. So it's when I'm like, okay, let me go out for a walk. And it was during COVID. So here I go with my mask, going into the woods, and there was hikers there, and so I love to take walks, silent walks. So it's just me and nature, and I just watch what nature's telling me. And that was like the most powerful walk that I've had, because it really spoke to me about the next phase in my life. The question that I asked before I entered the um the place that I went walking is, what is brewing, what's going to happen. And it really spoke about going into a different um, um, adventure. I would say adventure. It prepared me to understand that I had community that would help me. And so I felt I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I knew that the next part of my life was going to be about more understanding, more community, more evolution in terms of my life. And so I use it a lot to just, like I said, I am inspired by it. So I'm glad that we share that in common.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So, Edna, do you have a website where people can contact you, or what is the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, which is livingrealitydreams.com. Um, living
Okay,
livingrealitydreams.com. And there's a contact page there. You can also just Google me, and I write blogs every week. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm writing my blog for this week, and
okay.
so people can actually go in and see what I'm about in the website. And I also um, have my page in Facebook, in which I have quite a bit of activity communicating with people, and um, I I do recordings or teachings in Facebook. And every month I hold a workshop at the very last Saturday of the month. So for this month, it's going to be on the 27th, and yeah, you can sign up through my website, and more than happy to see anybody there. All those workshops are absolutely free, because I love to empower people on learning how to listen to their intuitive genius and live their best life.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, Edna. So, everyone, once again, that's Living Reality Dreams, uh, Living Your Intuitive Genius by Edna Castillo. I think you should go out and get that. You can also get I believe, an audio book on Amazon. So, thanks so much for being with us. This has been Mornings with Michael for informational and educational purposes. We'll see you next time.